Hello and welcome to episode 15 of the Sweet Lavender Knits Podcast. My name is Christine and I'm coming to you from just outside of Toronto, Ontario in Canada. Today is June the 24th, 2018, and it is a very gloomy, rainy day here, and it is a little chilly actually, but yes, and as usual I have problems with my lighting, and hopefully it is bearable and we can get through this episode. Thank you and welcome to all of you for joining me today. Any that are new, I welcome you, and to those that are returning, welcome you back again. Thank you so much for joining me. This is my knit night. For all of you that do not know, I don't have a local knit night to go to, so I started this podcast and I have invited you to mine. So grab your needles, a favorite project to work on, and let's get started. You can find me on social media on Instagram as sweet_lavender1 and on Ravelry as Sweet Lavender 1. We also have a lovely group on Ravelry and it's called the Sweet Lavender Knits Podcast. Sweet Lavender Knits group. And come on by, check us out, and if you are up to it, join us and introduce yourself in the welcome thread. There is also a Let's Chat thread that you can just talk about anything really, and we have a few going on, different threads for those things, and I will just talk to you about that in a moment. So yes, come on by, check us out, and you know, feel free to post any of your finished objects in the Let's Chat thread. So on the calendar, first of all, we have the Let's Knit KAL that started in April, mid-April, and as I asked in the last episode, and those of you that did respond, all of you said to go ahead and extend it. You were okay with that, so thank you very much, guys, for giving me a chance to be able to finish my project as well. And so I'm gonna extend it out to August 15th, only because we have a few family happenings going on in around August, and if we broke off in July, then I wouldn't have anything until September, which would be fine as well, but I thought this way it's a little more fun. It gives us a little more time and more of you to post finished objects in the FO thread. So I hope you are okay with that. So yes, it will be going out to August 15th, and I have not shown the prices for the KAL as yet. There will be two prizes, one for the finished objects thread and one for the chatter thread. So feel free to chat there as well. I've been a little MIA over the past weeks, just busy, but I will try and catch up, and thank you for all of those of you that have been continuing to post, put your comments and posts in the different threads. The second thing that's going on is the Operation Whip Control, and that is just all of us trying to get some of our projects that have been lingering on the needles off the needles, or hooks, or bobbins, or whatever else. So yes, go check it out, and basically if you are curious as to know what it is, it's just us listing out our works in progress and then trying to work through that list and get through as many things as we can. I believe it was going to go out to August as well. I can't remember now, but yes. So that's the other thing. And then it's been a while since I've done a monthly giveaway, so I thought for July I can do a July giveaway, and that's just my way to say thank you to all of you who have been subscribers and members of the Ravelry group. So a way to thank you for your support and just helping me on this podcasting journey, which is really new to me, and new behind the camera, but I am very fond of watching podcasts, and I really appreciate other podcasters for the time and effort that they take in making great productions. I'm nowhere close to that. It is very much home operation on my front, but I do enjoy chatting with each of you, and just being able to share some of my knitting projects right now, but other crafts as well, as and when I do them. So yes, it will be I will just open up a thread in hopefully by the 1st or the 2nd of July, and it will go on up until the end of July, at which time I will just draw a post, and the prize as usual will be a pattern from Ravelry, $10 US or less, so that of your choosing, and as long as you have it in your queue. So any that you like, do queue it up, and if you win, you can tell me which one you would like, and I would just gift it to you. And that's just a monthly giveaway that I try to do as often as I can. So those are the things on the calendar, and moving along, I am very, very happy to say that finally I have a finished a finished object to share with you. But before that, let me just take a sip of my water. I love tea, by the way, and I drink tea very often, and it's almost like I've said in a previous podcast probably, that it is almost religious for me. Like I take the time and enjoy my tea, which I can't seem to do on the podcast, because with all of my chatting, it either gets cold or I can't drink it to enjoy it. So I just opt for water on the podcast. Anyways, here is my Sorento shawl. It's all blocked. This is a pattern by Marsha Ibuki. She's a fellow Canadian, and I am very, very, very proud to have knit her pattern, and just to have her give me a like on Instagram. It makes me flutter a little bit and get all crazy over it, which is really funny. But I really enjoyed knitting this project, and it is a beautiful, beautiful pattern. I have blocked it, but I didn't get around to weaving the ends in, so please bear with me on that. Here it is. It is a crescent shaped shawl, and I don't think I can even bring it into frame, but I'll try to show it to you like this. Okay, so that's the end of it, and I will try and do some it has a beautiful, can you hear me? It has a beautiful lace border at the end, and I am so glad that I did rip it back and knit it the way I did, because it is beautiful. And there, so it's quite a large shawl, and if you don't mind the ends for a bit, I can try and wear it on and maybe show it a little bit. It is a beautiful size shawl. I love large shawls, and I think they are very flattering and it doesn't take a lot to dress it up, if I can say it like that. And there, a little bit more of the lace detail, and has some garter ridges. It has some short row shaping, and this lovely texture pattern that it looks really, really pretty. Yeah, so okay, and I know it's blowing out just because of the light color there, but it is really nice, and it's actually really nice and cozy. And the eucalyptus that I used, the wash, it's the eucalyptus, which I like. I also like the lavender, I think that they had, but this time I used the eucalyptus, and it smells really nice. And let me tell you about the yarn. all 3 skeins. There are 3 colors. It's a 3-color shawl, and all 3 skeins were from the Wool Barn. There was Fawn, the brown. There's Ballet Slipper, which is the pink that you can't see. It's blowing out there. And then this lovely cream with speckles of pink in it is Blush. And I forget what the different bases are, but I will be putting it up on Ravelry with the details of it on my project page, so you can have a look there. So, finished objects. I am so happy that I have something to share with you in my FO section for the podcast. So yeah, it's a mess, and I am terrible at showing things, unfortunately, but hopefully I'll get some pictures, and usually I do post on Instagram, guys. Maybe I'll do some, you know, at the end, not this time, but another episode probably, just so you see. So moving along to works in progress, I would have had a second finished object to share with you, but I purposely held back only because I wanted to share something about it. And I thought it'll be helpful to some of you who've never tried this technique. So it is a pair of socks, Shorty Socks, and the yarn is by Regia. I don't know what the colorway is called, but I would have a number for it, which I don't have the ball of yarn with me here, but I will put it up on the screen so you can see. So basically, Shorty Socks, vanilla, you know, I went through, I actually did a pattern, and I don't remember what the pattern is called. Oh, it's the Espresso Shot Shorty Socks by Cheryl Ham. She's the dyer behind Hypnotic Yarns. So it's a free pattern, I believe, on Ravelry. But basically what it is you knit, you have a little cuff of ribbing, and then you knit a few rows, and then you put in some waste yarn for your afterthought heel. And that was the reason I did this pattern, is because I wanted to learn the afterthought heel technique. And then you knit vanilla basically, and you put in a contrasting toe or whatever. I put in a contrasting toe. So this is the yarn that I used. It's pretty bright. It's like a highlighter green kind of. And the yarn I got from Little French Meadow. And I'll show you, I had a few more things come in the same package. So I'll show that to you just towards the end, where I do a little bit about acquisitions, when and if I have any to share. So the afterthought heel, like I said, I've never done that before, and I really wanted to learn the technique just because I like to learn different techniques with different patterns, and I was curious. I have to say, oh, and then I also, like I shared in my last episode, I did knit them 2 at a time. And it went along pretty fast, except for the few glitches that I had with some laddering that was occurring, and it did cause a little bit of a laddering, but I think it was my technique. And so when I was more conscious of it, I corrected that, and after which it seemed fine. There's not much of a difference. These have not been blocked, by the way, just to let you know. But here I was, and I just did the heel yesterday afternoon. Today's Sunday, and so yesterday afternoon, Saturday afternoon. And then I was about to start the second heel, and it took me maybe about 10 minutes to do a heel, which was not long at all, and I could have easily finished it. But I thought I would share this with you because in case any of you have not tried the afterthought heel, that I could maybe entice you to try it, because I have to say it was a lot of fun. A little nerve-wracking just because I didn't know if I could do the technique, but once I tried it, it's easy. It's not difficult at all. So basically what you do is you put in waste yarn while you continue, you know, you place, put a place holder for the where the heel will be inserted, and then you continue knitting on the foot. So after you're done all of the foot and the toe or whatever, you just come back and you have to place your needle a row below, and you pick up every you're picking up every right side leg of the stitch, and you can see I've done that already. And then I'm using magic loop, but you could easily do this with GPNs as well. And then you pick up a row on top of the contrasting yarn that you've put in there, and then you come in and you can use a crochet hook, or I just use my needle here and basically start ripping out that yarn that you placed. So I have to look in here while I show it to you, but let's see if you can see what I'm doing there. You pick up the yarn. I don't know where the camera is. Okay, there. And then you just pull it out. So again, just go and pick up the yarn and you're pulling it out. And basically you do that all the way across. Okay, so then you rip out the yarn completely, and here it is. So there is this gaping hole in your sock, and you're doing about an inch. I found that if I did people tell you it's about a ½ an inch to 3/4 of an inch, just knitting in the round, and then you would start your toe decreases and do like a regular toe. But I found that if I went, instead of 3/4 of an inch, if I went up to an inch, it's a deeper pocket for my heel, and it feels a lot better, or fits a lot better. So I would recommend trying 3/4, and then you would know whether to downsize that or increase it. I hope that makes sense. So it is a lot of fun ripping out the yarn, and one thing you have to be careful is when you are putting in your needle to pick up the stitches, that you're picking up all of the stitches. And I found that I had missed one, so I just caught it with a stitch marker, and so as not to let it run. And so now I can just go back and pick it up with my needle and continue knitting. And like I said, it's really, really fun. It's quick, and you can throw in whatever yarn as a contrast yarn. Yeah, I can see myself knitting Afterthought heels more. I have to say, I didn't enjoy knitting vanilla socks. I've never have. So I would want to do more patterns maybe, and then throw in an Afterthought heel. Once I can figure out how to measure this distance from the the end of, or the heel to the toe, because I know my toes are usually about 1.5 inches. So I've figured that part out, but it's the heel. I haven't figured out the depth of the heel. So if you guys can, have any tips or tricks for me to be able to know that on different shoe sizes, then please do let me know. I feel like I'm not really making a lot of sense, but hopefully I am. We'll see. Okay, and that brings me to my second work in progress, which is a valid work in progress. As soon as I got the rainbow socks off my needles, I cast on for another pair of socks, and it's for my son, and I'm trying to knit him a few pairs of socks before he goes off to school. So here is really plain looking pair, nothing exciting. It is again 72 stitches. It's for my 17-year-old. I did a 1x1 rib, and and then went into a 3x1 broken rib, and I really like the pattern that the broken rib creates. It's really nice. The reason I'm doing ribbed socks for him is because it's just, I think it'll fit him the best, rather than trying on another pattern. As much as I would have liked to knit a sock with pattern, I thought I would keep it practical for this time around. The yarn is a lovely, lovely yarn that I picked up at the Toronto Frolic 2018. And you can see it has, I'm going to call these socks, you know how Ravelry you get to name your projects? I'm going to call them gray skies, because that's what this yarn reminds me of. It's got hints of purple overlaid with gray, if I can say it there, but then there is a little bit of browns as well. So perfect. It's like lovely. And do you like my yarn cakes? I really enjoy using my yarn winder now. And if you are new, I was ranting on about my yarn winder being hopeless, and then ended up getting a Stanwood winder, and now I am in love with creating yarn cakes. The yarn, I'm sure all of you are just dying to know what the yarn is. It's from Riverside Studio, a Canadian dyer, and it is hand-dyed yarn, and it's a super sock base, which is superwash merino and nylon 80/20, and it is an 8-ply. I'm trying to see what other information I can give you, and the colorway is called Dusk. Oh, I wasn't very far. I called it Gray Skies. So there, it is aptly named Dusk. It is beautiful. It is very, very nice and soft yarn, and you know what, I'm pretty sure my son will enjoy it. It's really, really nice, close to the skin. I was thinking of making a hat for him in this, but he wasn't so interested in having a hat, so we'll see. Maybe another project will be a hat, because he'll need one in the winter. The third work in progress, and this one I am loving, guys. It's just so much fun to knit, except I am a slow knitter, so it's taking me a while. It is my Zwag sweater by Caitlin Hunter, and everyone and their mother is knitting it. And for good reason, really, because it is a lovely pattern, and it's just so addictive, maybe, to knit. I have to say it like that. Like, it's just very, very nice to knit. So here is my Zwag so far, and it's lovely yarn by Cozy Posy Yarn Co. It's called Sweater Weather. That's the main body, and the mustard for the yoke is Debbie Bliss, I believe, Donegal, tweed, and no, not tweed. I think it's just called Donegal. Hey, look, floating head. All right, so lovely pattern. It's got a nice lace yoke, and it's really, really nice and soft. Then you go into a little bit of color work, and then into the body. So since I last showed you guys, I did put a marker in, and that's how much I knit. So here is my marker, the blue, and this is how much I've knit. So I believe I was just before the pattern, the texture pattern started, and then I started knitting the pattern. I'm not sure whether the pattern shows up on the speckled yarn, so I'm a little concerned about that, because, you know, would it make a difference if I just, you know, if I do want to do the pattern, because it, you know, feels like I'm following the pattern, the pattern that the designer intended. But if it's not showing up, like, I could save a lot of time just doing stocking knit, which I will be very miserable and not enjoy much, but at least it'll go by faster, I think. Well, you guys let me know, because you see, I know it's there, I can feel it, but you can't really see the texture, and I know I'm not doing a good job showing it, but it is there. See? there is some texture there. Okay, so you can't see the texture. Let me find a spot where you can, maybe with some lighter yarn. There, it's these little crosses kind of thing, okay? Like it's a little star-shaped cross, maybe. Star-shaped cross, there's a word. I came across this technique that Andrea from the Fruity Knitting podcast was sharing on episode 53, and I shared that with you last time, in which instead of using a cable needle or doing it as a cable stitch, to do it as twisted stitch, and that's what she calls it. And I have to say that was very, very helpful, because it helped me to move along a lot faster than if I had done it as a cable, I think. Because I would have used a cable needle and it would have just slowed me down extremely. So I have been knitting on it, but I've been 2 minds. Oh, there, you can see the pattern. You see when it's kind of back there? Can you see it? I can see it on the screen, but it's very subtle, so I'm not sure if I should continue with it. You can let me know, if you don't mind, whether it's worth for me to continue with the textured pattern, or if it might not make a difference, and if I just do stocking net for the rest. And I could do them maybe in bands, that way I'm not, you know, doing them too often. That's a thought. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do, and see which way is better. Although I would not want a band of texture coming right across my bum, because that would not be flattering. We'll see. Yeah, I have to think about that. We'll see. But yeah, that's where I am with my Zweig, and I am loving it. And this is my contribution. I won't be eligible for the prize, obviously, but this is what I'm knitting for the Let's Knit KAL. But yes, there are my works in progress, and it really feels funny to be sitting back in front of the camera after a while, and I feel like I'm so out of practice. Really, it's just an extra week, and it is so uncomfortable for me to be talking right now. Okay, so moving along to acquisitions, and you know what, I am thrilled about this one. Please bear with me in the noise. It's a little package I received from the Little French Meadow. I had placed an order with them when they had a sale a few weeks ago, on which they had some lovely progress keepers, and I thought, you know, those would be really nice to include in my prizes when I send it out to people. And so I grabbed quite a few of them, and I love this packaging. It's so bright and cheerful, and you know, just receiving it, it's like it's really nice. So thank you ladies, if you're watching. And they were nice enough to send me an extra one for me, I guess, and it was really nice. So the one that they sent me, the extra, is this little crown here. Oops, do I have to do like the podcast hand thing there? Even then it won't focus, but it's a little crown. And they have an Etsy shop, and it's the littlefrenchmeadow.etsy.com there on the top, and it is really nice. Thank you very much. And some tea, and I believe there was a candy as well. Thank you very much. So the progress keepers that I did order are these lovely owls. Well, some of them owls, and I'll just show them to you very briefly. And they are, I believe, polymer clay, but very cute. And they're, oh, I missed an owl package there. And you know what, after I saw it, I was like, hey, I want some of those. So I will be keeping some for me, but I will share some of them in the price packages as well. There's a little cute sheep, and then there were some hearts that I also liked, and those are the hearts. So yeah, those are the prizes. I'm sorry, those are the things that I got. Recently, well, a few weeks back, I had completed my buttercup socks. It's a lovely pattern by Ellie of the Craft House Magic podcast, and posted my socks on the finished objects thread. And you know, and I usually get around to watching the podcast the same evening when I get home of when it's posted, but I guess I've just been a little busy over the last few months and a half or so, so I didn't get around to it. And all of a sudden I see this message in my Ravelry mailbox from Ellie, and she said that I had won, and I was so surprised. So I went out and checked out her podcast, and she even gave me a nice shout out. So thank you very much, Ellie, if you're watching, for the shout out. And if you are here watching this podcast from Ellie's group or because of her shout out, I really thank you for coming and giving it a try. And I don't know if I'm as entertaining as Ellie. I don't think I would be. She is hilarious. Her laughter and her cheerfulness is so contagious, and she is so talented with all of her crafts. And but I thank you for coming by and checking this podcast out. And if you do like what you see, then do stay a while. Yes, so thank you very much, Ellie, and I do really appreciate that. So it looks like that's it, guys. It's a very short podcast this time, surprisingly. It's just I feel like I'm not I'm missing a few things that I did want to say, but well, whatever it is, I'm sure I can mention it the next time. And I want to thank all of you once more for coming by and spending some time with me. Hope you were able to get some knitting done or crafting of whatever kind you were doing. And really, I do look forward to chatting with you again. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, happy knitting. Bye-bye.